guys! Welcome to an all-new episode of Nerd Herd Live. We have a very packed show tonight. We are going to talk about entertainment news, some local Atlanta news, Oscar predictions, and then movie reviews for two of the new releases we've seen in the last 2 weeks. But before we dive into all of that, we're going to do our introductions, and we're going to start with Matt.
Hey, I'm Matt Rodriguez, the owner and chief editor of Shakefire.net. Throwing it down to Robert.
Hey guys, Robert, owner and chief editor at 3ifbyspace.net. Jen?
Over here, yeah.
I'll get that right eventually.
I am Jen, not the owner, but the senior writer for fanbolt.com. Emma.
And I'm Emma, the founder and editor-in-chief of fanbolt.com. So now we've got that out of the way, let us dive into our entertainment news. We are going to kick things off with a little Star Wars talk. Robert, what's going on with these two Star Wars films?
Well, unfortunately, there's a little bit of sad news that two films that were upcoming are being shelved. So that's Kevin Feige's and Patty Jenkins' movies have been shelved for the time being. I don't think that comes as a surprise with the amount of content that's out there for Star Wars right now. There's a lot of saturation. I think it's smart on their part to kind of hold back a little bit. Maybe something they've learned from Marvel of not doing too much, right? It doesn't mean the plots won't come back. They won't revisit it at some point down the road. Taika Waititi's, I'm trying to get that pronunciation right.
I struggle with it too. Don't feel bad.
Yes. He is still looking to star in his own film, and that one still seems to be kind of searching around for a place in their schedule. But at this point, the other two films are a no-go at the moment, so that they can focus on the ones that are already coming out on Disney Plus, and there's a lot of series that are coming. So
it's all series.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a new film since episode 9,
right?
And it's like I feel like they're very after the reception that final trilogy got, like, and how bad episode 9 was, to put it bluntly.
Yep.
That, like, I think they're being very wary and they want to make sure that they get the next movie right. So
well, and this isn't the first move that they've made to show that they understand to, for lack of a better word, stop beating a dead horse. Andor, they're officially stopping with the second season. So that's been coming out in the news. The lead actor also stated that, you know, he kind of wants to be done after the latest season as well. But I think the beauty of a story like Andor is that they know where they're going. They have a very tight story. And they've already got a film that it leads into, and they're not continuing to milk it too much to where we all get sick and tired of it, or it starts to feel like it's filler. I'll use an anime term, filler episodes.
I thought they'd said that from the beginning, though, that it was only going to be 2 seasons.
I think they did.
But
a lot of
and then people forget, and then it gets
like,
published
oh,
in
this
the
is
news,
gonna be
and it's like, oh
awesome.
yeah, it's only going to be 2 seasons and stuff,
right?
So it's the whole news.
They do kind of have a hard stop with the main character there.
Yeah,
they do.
You know what happens?
Yeah, we do.
Spoiler alert for an older movie.
Spoiler alert, Rogue One. Just saying.
Hamlet ending, guys. Hamlet ending. It's,
I will say, I feel bad for Patty Jenkins because she got her Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman 3, essentially canceled as well. So I feel like she needs to catch a break.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. There was a new trailer that released that Matt's gonna introduce for us.
Yeah, so there is a new trailer. It was released today for the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is the animated film coming out that's done by Illumination, which is the same studio that did the Minions and the Despicable Me franchise. And it actually looks really good. I'm kind of excited about it. Like, I wasn't, the first trailer was fine, like there was nothing special, and then it's all just been kind of quiet, and it's just like, it is what it is. It's got Chris Pratt as Mario, which I am still not sold on.
Yeah.
It's just Chris Pratt being Chris Pratt, and it feels like everybody else is at least kind of, I mean, you can't compete with Jack Black as Bowser, because like he always gives his voice roles everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, like this last trailer that just came out today, it actually looks really good and really fun. So
I like the fact that they used Rainbow Road and sort of the Mario Kart-esque piece of it, because Rainbow Road, for those of you that have ever played, you know that it's the most notorious track that we all royally hate and love at the same time. So it was a great little nod in the trailer.
You would enjoy the karting stuff, Robert, that you destroy and kill me on.
What can I say?
At some point that Mario is going to just shell everybody and completely destroy whoever's in first place right when they're at the finish line.
So for those that don't know, for context,
Mario Kart.
in one game of Mario Kart with Matt, he was inches from the finish line, and I blue shelled him and took first place from him right at the very end, and he has not let me live it down since. But
never.
Tell me in the comments, is this not how you play Mario Kart?
It is how you play Mario Kart.
That's how you play Mario Kart. That is the name of the game.
And speaking of comments, I dropped in a link to the trailer if you guys want to check it out and let us know your thoughts on it. All right, we'll keep moving along, and I've lost my thing with what's next. I believe it is Atlanta news. Yes,
it is.
Atlanta news. So Matt and I got to go to a super cool event last Friday down at Trilith Studios, which for those that aren't familiar with Trilith, it is where mostly everything that is Marvel is filmed. I think there was a quote in one of the videos there that there's more Marvel history on the stages at Trilith than on any other stage in the world. So it essentially is the home of Marvel. Other stuff films there, but it's basically the home of Marvel. And they've got a couple of new big expansions coming up, which I believe is going to make them. Do you have this in your notes, Matt?
They're going to be the biggest in the United States.
Biggest in the United States.
The biggest film studio in the United States.
Nice.
Which is just rad. I mean, it's like,
it's like they got a ton of stages.
South.
West Coast has got nothing on the East Coast. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's Atlanta's doing all right for itself, so it's always exciting.
Doing pretty good.
But yeah, Matt, do you want to kind of give us an overview of some of the stats from the event and what it was for?
Yeah, so it was the Real People Care Gala. Real spelled REEL because it's the film industry. And basically they had about 15 local charities that they were sponsoring. The charities are Association of Village Pride, Bloom, Christian City, Clearwater Academy, Coco's Cupboard, the Eden Project, Fayetteville Fire Foundation, Fayette Senior Services, the Forest School, Leap for Literacy, Midwest Food Bank, Piedmont Fayette Hospital, Promise Place, Southern Conservation Trust, and Two Sparrows Village. So they have all these local charities that they support throughout the year. And every year, this is the 9th annual gala that they've thrown at Trilith Studios to help raise money for these charities. So they put on this big gala and invite, everybody who's who of Atlanta into the studio to see it and see what they have to offer. They show off different props. They had a bunch of cars. They had the Surfer Boy Pizza from Stranger Things van there, which was awesome. Cars from The Walking Dead were there.
Zombieland,
bunch of props. And they raise money. They have a silent auction going so you can bid on stuff. They had a lot of signed memorabilia from the films and DVDs, all that kind of stuff, posters. lots of really cool stuff. And so they're just raising monies for these charities. And at the events last Friday that Emma and I got to attend, they were able to raise $1 million at
Nice.
the event.
Well done.
Yeah, it was a really impressive feat. I think last year they got close to, I think it was 800.
It was in that ballpark, I think.
Yeah.
It was shy.
So they
of a
already,
million, but not much.
yeah, it was shy of $1 million. So like they outpaced themselves this year, and they did a really good job.
They did.
Nice.
They did.
Very cool.
It's I think you mentioned this, but I know you mentioned this before we got on. They've raised over $6 million over the course of 9 years, which is just really, really impressive.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And what I like about it is like they're all about the community. Like these are all local charities.
Yeah.
They really encourage this community involvement. They have the town at Trilith, which is where like basically like their whole community complex where people live and artists live and work and do their thing and contribute to the whole city there. So like that's what I love about them most is how they foster this sense of community within the film world.
Yeah, it's
Very
really
cool.
cool. And we had a few local celebrities there as well. Matt got to see me fangirl out again over one of my reality show couples from Love is Blind season 1, which was the first show that I watched during like the COVID quarantine shutdown back in March of 2020. And of course that season of Love is Blind shot here. And so I keep showing up at like these events where this couple is, and eventually I'm going to stop just being excited that they're there and I'm going to go introduce myself. But this wasn't that time. Maybe next year. Maybe at the 10th annual gala, I will muster up the courage to go and talk to them and tell them how much I love them. But it was a super cool event, and it's exciting to see all that they're doing down there.
Yeah. It's like they're only going to get bigger.
They are. And what's really cool too is they have the room to get bigger. Like there's so much land down there around them that they don't really have the restraints that a lot of studios have with their property.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So moving on.
Emma, what did you do? I think you did something cool.
I did do something cool. I'm still recovering from it. We'll start with the video. So this, there was a influencer event last night for Shazam, Fury of the Gods, which of course hits theaters on March 17th. And Shazam has been doing so much promotional stuff, and I love that they're doing stuff here because it filmed here. So on that note, I'll just play the video and then I'll tell you guys about this crazy experience. There is actually no audio, so I guess I could just narrate it. But see, I got really good at the end. I edited out all of the parts that were not impressive.
I was going to say, like, didn't you almost hit that guy?
Yeah. My first time in, so what happened was everyone got to do 2 sessions that were 2 minutes long. And that sounds short, but literally my body could not handle any more than that, especially the second time.
That sounds like a long time to me.
Yeah. 2 minutes is long.
It's long. It's it hurts. So this
like,
wasn't
how far, if that was a real skydive, how far would you have fallen in 2 minutes?
That's an interesting stat to know.
I'm wondering like how long a standard skydive is.
Terminal velocity.
I have done actual skydiving before. I will never do it again. I did it with Alex in 2016 or 2015. No, it was 2013 or 14. It was 10 years ago. But we did it out in like
You're still trying to get that video, right?
I gave up. they claimed that they like sent it to me and they never did. And so like now I don't even remember the name of the company. But I was very upset with them for a very long time because I only got one photo from the whole thing and I paid for this whole package so I'm still bitter about it. Obviously, I'm still explaining it. But I got so nauseous after that because the guy I was tethered to midway down goes, "Do you want to have some fun?" And I didn't hear him. So I said,
Poor choice.
I was
God.
like yelling. I was like yelling, "Huh?" And he thought I said, "Uh-huh." So
Oh,
he
God.
he starts doing like all of these flips, and I'm just like praying for it to be over. Like, I almost vomited. I'm honestly shocked that I didn't. And by the time
Maybe that's why they didn't send you the video, because that would be evidence
Right?
that they
for
didn't
you
listen to me.
yeah, for when you sue them
Oh,
if something
my
bad
God.
happened.
It was.
So this experience simulates just like the free fall part, right?
It's
Yeah.
not even, it doesn't feel remotely the same to me. The only thing that I think would feel familiar is you have essentially two types of helmets. I was wearing the one where my face was fully covered. They have another one where like your, which is like the one I wore when I actually did skydiving, where it was open in the front.
Mhm.
And that, like, your face hurts so much when you're falling. Like, just the air and everything on your skin just hurts.
Yeah.
So I think if you were in there and you didn't have the covered helmet on, you would feel that. But other than that, it doesn't feel remotely similar to me.
Okay.
But then
Yeah,
again, I blacked a lot of it out. So it's, maybe it does feel. I'm not going to test it again. But
So according to this, the free fall part of a typical skydive lasts for about 50 seconds to a minute. So if these sessions were each 2 minutes long, you were hanging in there.
It's a lot. I had actually done, I did indoor skydiving once before this was about 22 years ago. I did it in Pigeon Forge and I didn't recall it hurting, but this time it really hurt my shoulders because you kind of have to, you would think it would be very core centric with how you're balancing your body, but it's actually very, for me and the others that were talking about the pain in their shoulders, it seems to be like really the strength from like your shoulders and like your upper chest, because you have to kind of pull back your shoulders, but then you've got to kind of like push your hands out. And like with the wind resistance coming at you, it really like, it like shredded my shoulders.
Huh.
That being said, I absolutely recommend it. I think everyone should do it once because it's cool.
Jump out of a perfectly
It
good
does.
plane.
It's
No.
And
it's
it looks
Thank
really
you.
cool. You look really cool doing it. So
Thank
Yeah.
you. I was like, I'll play it again and look how cool. I don't necessarily look cool in the beginning. I look like I'm like rocking like mad person, but seeing
it's like he had to jump out.
carrying the guy. But yeah, then once you get
How are they able to stand up?
Aerodynamics, I guess.
some of the stuff, I'll have to
seemed-
send you guys one of the videos of the dude in there like showing off, like, I mean,
Oh,
flips
yeah.
and all kinds of stuff. And he doesn't have to stay in that same position that like all of us had to stay in this kind of parallel to the ground position.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen like videos of like pro, like they have like competitions,
Yeah.
almost like Olympic level, and
Yeah.
they're doing these fancy coordinated dances. It looks like,
Yeah.
and it's ridiculous.
It is. There is like I guess it falls into the extreme sport category, and they have like world championships for it. I mean, it's not an Olympic sport, but there absolutely is like a competitive like sport.
Maybe
thing
one
around
day,
it. Maybe
one day in the future,
One day.
It could happen.
indoor skydiving or outdoor.
No.
See. Look at that.
Perfectly good plane.
Yeah, like I said, wouldn't do it again.
I
I
still
probably-
like. For me, it was the Power Rangers movie, and the opening scene of the Power Rangers movie where they all go skydiving, and Tommy, the White Ranger, is being the cool guy of the group, and he has what is it? Not ski, but the single I can't remember the word.
Snowboard.
Oh, like the snowboard
That's the
looking
word.
thing.
Yeah, snowboard.
Like Kate Cloud Kicker from Tailspin.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Tailspin.
it's
Man.
Yeah, that's a deep reach.
But like that was always so cool to me. As
Yeah.
a little
Pretty
kid.
cool. I feel like that would even make it even harder. And,
Oh, I'm sure.
And because like that's automatically going to get caught by the air, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's cool. The people that can do it and make it look rad. I was not one of them, but all right. So let's move on to our Oscar predictions. The
Oscars.
95th Oscars Academy Award show is this Sunday, and
Woohoo.
it's
The Great Slap. Nope,
Yes,
sorry, that was last
great.
time.
That
That was last year, but there's been a lot of media about it recently.
Who knows what's gonna happen this year?
Who knows? I'm sure someone will do something, and we'll be talking about it on Monday.
There will probably going to be a lot of jokes and references to the slap.
I
For
have
sure.
no doubt.
I'd be shocked if there wasn't. But yeah, let's dive in. We're gonna hit on all of the kind of top major
The
categories.
core, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna go through everyone here. I want you to give me who you think is going to win and who you want to win
Ooh.
each of these categories.
Okay.
So let's start with Best Picture. Our nominees are Avatar, The Way of the Water, Banshees of Inisherin.
Inisherin.
In a share.
I
Insurance.
always say that wrong. Elvis, Everything, Everywhere, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and All Quiet on the Western Front. Matt, let's start with you.
And woman talking.
Women talking, yeah.
That is not on my ballot that I downloaded from.
Ooh, well then your ballot is wrong.
All right, so I guess if you are downloading a ballot, don't download it from Variety.
Do they not have it on the ballot? Oof.
It's not
I didn't
on
see
the
it
ballot.
either. Yeah.
Whoa, that's a big miss.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Whoopsies.
But yes, women talking is on there.
I will let you guys read the other
Okay.
categories.
I
Okay.
can go. I have the list in front of me, so I can
So do I. Yep.
Okay.
head off everything.
Matt and I'll tag team on it. But
Cool.
Matt, you start. What's your prediction
So,
and your pick for Best Picture?
Both of mine of these are going to be the same,
Mhm.
and it's Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yep.
I am pretty confident that is going to win, and I'm pretty confident that you're going to be hearing Everything, Everywhere, All at Once a lot during the Oscars on Sunday, and it's going to be well deserved. Like that was my favorite film of last year, and yeah, it's my best picture, and I believe based on everything leading up to this, so all the other previous awards, Mary, everybody's been gushing over Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, and so yeah, that I believe that will be the winner.
Robert, how about you?
I'm actually in 100% agreement on that with Matt. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is my my prediction and my pick. There's a lot of great films in there. I mean, Fablemans.
Oh yeah,
was a super close second for me in all of my voting. But Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, just from the budget that they did it with, the way that they did everything, the cast that they had, it deserves it out of that group.
Jen.
I can't disagree. I mean, I've got Everything Everywhere All at Once for my pick as well. In my heart of hearts, I would love to see the Fablemans win. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I agree with that. Obviously, I have been a fangirl for Fablemans since roughly this time last year when I first saw the trailer. I don't think it will win Best Picture. I would love for it to win Best Picture, but I think Everything Everywhere All at Once definitely deserves to win. Another one that is a contender and did really well, won at the BAFTAs, which is the British, essentially their Oscars, was All Quiet on the Western Front, which is a German film. And there is a lot of kind of rumblings that it might win as well. If it did, it would be the first Netflix film to win Best Picture. So
Nice.
a lot of people don't think that the Academy is ready for that because there is still this kind of stigma
Yeah.
between like going to the theaters versus streaming.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, people have strong feelings on that, especially studio executives and
That would be quite the upset too.
It
Yeah.
would, yeah.
No, it would be a huge upset.
it would. So that being
All
said,
right. Let's
move on.
go to director.
Moving on down.
So for director, we have Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. So
can I just pop in right now and say that I'm confused by all of the Triangle of Sadness stuff. Like
I wouldn't. It didn't make any of my top 10 lists or anything like that. And I am a bit surprised, especially for Best Picture, Best Director, like that it made it.
That it made it for that. Yeah.
I mean, props to them. Like props to anybody who makes any of these nominations.
Absolutely.
Right. But those were definitely like unexpected surprises.
Unexpected. Yeah. I mean, they were good movie. It was a good movie. It was definitely like it's a dark comedy.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was surprising for me to see it in there. All right, moving on.
So
back to your programming.
So Emma, kick us off.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win, and who do you want to win?
I think this one's going to be close. I think the Daniels, Everything Everywhere All at Once have probably the best shot, but I think it's going to be a super close call between them and Steven Spielberg, because I think Spielberg might actually take it for Best Director, because I think it's almost like a paying honor to his entire body of work, not just this one movie, because of what this movie is. And it really is about the love of filmmaking and the love of this industry. So I think it's going to be super close. And so I'm going to say Spielberg.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to say Spielberg.
Jen?
Right. I mean, while there is nothing that the Academy loves more than self-aggrandizing, which would be a vote in favor of Spielberg, I'm going to give it to the Daniels on this one. Like that, just I think you're right. I think Spielberg has a good shot, because again, the Academy sure does love itself. But I'm giving it to the Daniels. Matt, what do you think?
Ooh, I think I'm in agreement here. I think it is definitely between Spielberg and the Daniels. And personally, I'm all for the Daniels. I love the Fabelmans and everything.
Mm-hmm. I did love
but like personally, this is just me personally. I know people don't vote this way, and it's all politics in that stuff. It's like what Emma was saying with this is about Steven Spielberg's entire body of work and all that, but it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be. And he won Oscars before.
Oh yeah.
So it's
and
not
it's like it should be it's like you have this thing where it's like, oh yeah, people are given their due, like they're due for an Oscar, even if their performance isn't as strong or something like that. It's like, oh, it's their time kind of thing, which I feel like it should just be the best performance for this film, for whatever. If they're due, you should have given them an Oscar for when they did whatever
right.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I know that doesn't happen. So it is possible. Yeah.
But Fabelmans was really good. So I'm not.
It is. Oh no, it is really good.
Well, I
agree with that.
Let's be fair. Every film that's made it to this nomination list is because they are the best or at the peak of what was done in this past season. So, it's not like Spielberg's movie was bad.
Yeah.
By comparison, right? He's
it's
on
not,
this list
it's not
for
like
a
it
reason.
was West Side Story.
I love that movie.
I was
I
not
was
a
the only
fan.
one in our critics group that liked
No,
that
I think
movie.
Robert liked it.
I didn't dislike it. Middle
I
of the road.
really liked it.
Well,
I was
seen
like,
it,
this is
Jen?
fantastic.
It was Dan Delightful. Thank you very
Right.
much.
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm the outlier. I'm the
You
outlier.
are.
Yeah.
You are.
But you weren't alone. Like a majority of critics were like not like into
No.
it.
No.
The Atlanta film critics.
No.
You sure about that? I think Matt was on his own.
I
on
feel
that
like
one.
I was very alone.
I
I know
I'm
online was alone because I got a lot of flack from,
Hey.
from random people who were like, "Oh my god, who are you?"
Yeah.
How do you not recognize the magic?
But I would agree with everyone on the directing. I'm gonna go with the Daniels as well. Again, really tight between Spielberg and the Daniels. Again, if I just look at the films up against each other for this year, kind of to Matt's point, Everything Everywhere All at Once is just so unique in comparison to the others that I think that it deserves it simply for what they accomplished in that uniqueness. And again, I think, Spielberg, not to say that he doesn't deserve it because he's got tons of Oscars already or, that he did a bad job.
Yeah.
I mean, his body of work will be celebrated. They have separate awards just for those type of things. And I think that will come for him at some point, if it hasn't already.
Eventually, there's going to be an award show called the Spielbergs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's face it.
Either a sitcom, one of the two.
Yep.
Oh,
I would watch that sitcom.
I would watch
bet.
that.
I would watch it.
Okay, how about actress in a leading role? So let's list these
Ooh.
off. Kate Blanchett in Tar, Ana de Armas in Blonde, Andrea Riseborough in Leslie, Michelle Williams in The Fabelmans, and Michelle Yeoh, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Jen?
I'm giving it to Michelle Yeoh. And not just because I love her with every fiber of my being, which I do. I think she was so fantastic in this movie, and I think she's earned it. I mean, not that the other actresses were not fantastic. Kate Blanchett was awesome. But I think Michelle Yeoh's got it in the bag, personally. Robert, what do you think?
On this, we're all in alignment so far tonight. I'm going with Michelle Yeoh as well. She is just, I like that she's unfiltered. She's just very you watch her interviews and her speeches. She's point blank. She's down to earth. She's real. She doesn't mince words. She's got an incredible body of work over all the years of everything she's done. And she was just really awesome as the lead role in this film. So it is absolutely deserved. And I'm definitely going with Michelle Yeoh. Emma?
Yeah, I don't think that there's much. There's not much room for arguing here. I will say that, Kate Blanchett is probably the closest one that could potentially win. I think Michelle has it in the bag. But that being said, another performance. I also thought Michelle Williams did a really great job. She's not going to win. But I said after I saw Fabelmans that I could see her, winning. And then of course I had not seen Everything Everywhere at that time. And now I have. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you guys.
Yeah.
Matt?
It's funny because we all have those reactions at the same, at different periods of the year based on what we've seen and stuff. Because I remember early on, we might have even talked about this when it came out, where we were all, raving about Ana de Armas and her performance in Blonde and how amazing she was. And she's a shoo-in for, Best Actress and stuff. And then, things changed when Kate Blanchett came with Tar. And I was so very certain that she was going to win for Tar. And now, yes, I am very confident that, like you guys, it's going to be Michelle Yeoh. because the range she has in Everything Everywhere is just
Incredible.
amazing.
Yeah.
Because she is, it's this whole multiversal story, and she's playing all these different versions of herself.
Orphan
And
Black, the movie.
yeah. And she just, she is able to just, change just one little thing and just become a completely different character at the drop of a pin. And it's just, the performance is just amazing. So yeah, Michelle Yeoh all the way.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, now, Best Actor. This one I feel is going to be an interesting race.
This is going to be super.
So we have Austin Butler as Elvis and Elvis Presley. Or as
it's just
as
Elvis Presley and Elvis.
Yeah. Elvis Presley in Elvis.
Yeah, there you go.
Colin Farrell in The Banshees of Inisherin. Brendan Fraser in The Whale. Paul Mescal in The After Sun. And Bill Nighy in Living. So, Robert, what is your prediction?
This is an interesting one. I had kind of a similar thought process as you did, where in watching some of these, seeing Brendan Fraser in The Whale, I'm like, oh, he's a shoo-in. And then I look at some of the other nominees in here and I'm like, maybe not so much. I'm gonna end up going with Austin Butler on this one. I think is what's ultimately gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
Just when I compare the overall range and everything that he did with the character, I felt like it deserves it. After Sun, for me, I don't think I was the target audience. It just didn't click with me. I just don't. That film, I just didn't get it. But and Colin Farrell is really good as well. I would say the closest second place to Austin is probably going to be Brendan in that list.
No.
Jen?
So yeah, this is a tough one for me. In my heart, I want to give it to Brendan Fraser because he's a wonderful human being. Also he took the Critics' Choice and he took the SAG Awards. I think it's going to go to Austin Butler. I'm not thrilled about it just because I don't like Elvis. But honestly, though, I think Colin Farrell could be the upset. I think he's got a really good shot at it. I think it's going to go to Butler. But I think Colin Farrell's got a lot of buzz for Banshees of Inisherin. So I'm thinking it could go to Colin Farrell.
Okay.
Yeah. Emma, what do you think?
I'm giving it to Austin. I think that there's, when we kind of look at this, I mean, everyone that's nominated, for the most part, has always done an incredible job in any category. There's usually everyone deserves to be there, and everyone in this category deserves to be there. What I would say with Austin, sometimes you have these outside factors that can affect what people are thinking about when they're voting. And with the recent passing of, Lisa Marie, I think that is something that will be on people's mind. I'm not saying it shouldn't be. It should be purely about the performances, but that's not how this works. So I think that is a factor. I also think that from when they expanded the Best Picture category years ago to include more films, it was for the marketability of the DVD sales of this movie. So they could say, Best Picture nomination. That was one of the reasons why.
And to get more people to watch.
And to get more people to watch. Absolutely. So I think Austin Butler, being young in his career, he has a lot more buzz around him because he's got so much kind of going on. He's really hot right now. He's going to be in a ton of stuff. He is very talented. He was fantastic in the role. All that being said, I think he's going to win. I agree with Jen. I would love for Brendan Fraser to win. That would just, I love him. His performance certainly deserved it. But I think it will be Austin.
Matt?
I have a different view.
Hey, we've got our first divergent category. Let's do it.
It's still the same people.
Okay.
but just placed differently, different positions. So, personally, I would love for Colin Farrell to win.
Okay.
I would love to see him win.
Mhm.
I don't see him winning. So, like Jen, I believe he is definitely the wild card
Yeah.
in the category. And if he wins, it's going to be a big upset. I think the race is between Austin Butler and Brendan Fraser. But unlike you guys, I think it's going to be Brendan Fraser who's going to win.
Really?
I think he's going to win, and I think it's going to be like both are amazing performances, but also I feel like Brendan Fraser is due for the
He definitely
recognition
is.
as well.
Yeah.
He is.
Because he has had this monumentous comeback to Hollywood.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to top it all off with an Oscar win is just like the ultimate Cinderella story.
Yeah.
And
I'd love to see it. I really would.
as Emma says, Austin is young, he's talented.
He's got a lot ahead of him.
He'll have his time to shine. And so I feel like that's going to play into people's minds. And
a nomination's not a bad feather in his hat.
Exactly.
Oh, that's true. The nomination alone helps.
Yeah.
So I'm putting my money on Brendan Fraser winning.
Okay.
All
right.
So
there
you have it.
All right.
All right. So actress in a supporting role. So this is another stacked category, but we have Angela Bassett for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Hong Shao for The Whale, Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin. We have Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Sue. Okay, yeah, I was going to mispronounce her last name, so sorry about that. Also, Everything Everywhere All at Once. All right, Emma, where do you think this one's going?
I think Angela Bassett has this one in the bag. I don't think there's really Jamie Lee Curtis is someone that I could put. I think would be the closest, in my opinion, to like being a second place contender. But I think Angela Bassett has this in the bag.
Okay, Matt?
Yeah, I'm going for Angela Bassett as well. I honestly was surprised about Jamie Lee Curtis's nomination. She was good in the role, but I don't know if I would have put her in like Oscar quality. Like, if anybody, for me, the second is Stephanie Sue. She is like amazing in Everything Everywhere. So I would put her above Jamie Lee Curtis, but I still believe it's going to be Angela Bassett.
Jen?
I'm gonna go with Angela Bassett. Although I think Carrie Condon could be an upset. She had a great performance in The Banshees of Inisherin, and she took the BAFTA, so she could be the upset. But I'm pulling for Angela Bassett. I want her to have that Oscar. So I am crossing fingers and toes on that one, and not just because that's what I'm putting on my ballot. Robert, what do you think?
It's going to be Jenny the donkey.
Oh my God. There should be like a pet category.
Like an honorable mentions.
Category.
Yeah.
Definitely Angela Bassett on my ballot for sure. She was also my top pick for AFCC and SEFCA. I would say the close second for me is Stephanie Sue. Jamie Lee Curtis, I agree with you. Like, her role was good, but for the same film, Stephanie was above in my mind.
Let me say, I would agree with that. I just think that Jamie Lee Curtis is one of those ones that kind of falls into being acknowledged for
her due.
For everything.
Yeah. I don't think the nomination is bad.
Like,
but
I think it's, as for the official Oscars, I think it's honestly between Jamie Lee and Angela Bassett, like as 1 and 2.
Yeah,
and it could go either way, with Carrie Condon being the upset. So always
Okay.
Banshees being the upset.
I mean, Banshees was
Banshees are
unexpected.
upsetting, okay?
I mean, I'll tell you, going into that movie, I was not expecting that.
For
It was
every
a
Oscar,
interesting movie.
for every Oscar the Banshees doesn't win, I will cut off a finger.
Oh God!
Don't do that.
You need to live tweet that and like
Think you
get
have
that
enough
rolling.
Fingers.
This
That
is
they're
true.
nominated for.
Oh, okay. You didn't say
Yeah.
that.
All right, Matt, you want to hit
All
the
right.
next category?
Best Supporting Actor. So we got Brendan Gleeson in The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, Judd Hirsch for The Fablemans, Barry Keegan for The Banshees of Inisherin, and Ki Hui Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So, Jen.
I'm giving it to Kwan. I
think- Like, do we even need to discuss this category? As a
okay. Like I
Okay.
did love Judd Hirsch in The
Raise your-
Fablemans. I thought he did such a great job.
He did
He
do a
did.
great job.
But
like-
But
for
raise
like-
your hand if you're giving it to Kwan.
yeah.
yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
also want Quan to have it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Everybody
yeah,
wants
I
Kwan to
want
have
him
it.
to have it.
Like,
yeah.
the entire world wants him to
World,
have
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah.
but the upset in that category, what's everybody think the upset would be?
Judd Hirsch.
Would it be him?
I think
No,
so.
I think it would
I-
be probably.
I think Brendan
Barry
Gleeson.
You think Brian Gleason?
I think Brendan Gleeson.
I think it would be Barry.
the upset.
Keegan.
I think
You
it
think
would
Barry?
be Barry too.
I think it would be Barry because I want to say, didn't Barry win something? Win one of them?
BAFTA.
The BAFTA.
BAFTA. Yeah.
BAFTA.
Yeah.
So yeah. I
I
think it
mean,
would be
the Banshees
Barry.
of Sharon taking a lot of BAFTAs does not surprise me because it is the
Yeah.
British Awards. So,
True, right?
True.
but yeah,
Oh,
So-
I have a visitor.
Aw.
it's a fuzzy bear.
It's a Fuzzy. Fuzzy, who do you want to win?
She's like Jenny the donkey.
Aw.
Oh, look at that face!
High five.
All right.
Yay!
He probably needs to go to the bathroom.
Animated feature. I think that's the next one, right? On the
Ooh,
list,
animated. Yeah.
All right. So we have Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On,
I've never heard of that one.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, The Sea Beast, and Turning Red. So we're gonna go with our most animated critic here on animated feature, Emma.
Oh,
what's
yeah.
your pick?
Well, I think
Oh, I thought-
Marcel should win. Sorry, that was my Marcel. Well, clearly, I think Marcel should win. I also don't think Marcel necessarily belongs in the animated category. But that being said, I don't know what other category he would be in or it would be in. I don't think Marcel will win, sadly, which breaks my heart. I think it's going to go to Pinocchio, hands down. But, you know, I'm still over here with my little guy.
Jen, what's your thoughts?
As much as honestly the movie bored me to tears,
I was about to
I
say,
think
you
it's-
didn't like
I
Pinocchio.
didn't like Pinocchio. I thought it was boring as hell.
Shame.
I know, but I do think it's gonna win. It was not my favorite.
So
what
what
would
is
be
your,
your favorite?
what
off
is
that
your
list?
favorite? What is your pick?
So of the things I saw
Of those
this year, and I feel like I should say Marcel the Shell with Shoes On just because I would like to come to Emma's Oscar party. But I mean, Pixar takes it like every year. And I thought Turning Red was honestly kind of brave in that not only are they addressing like Asian culture, but they're addressing like periods on screen, you know, and the utter cringe factor that is being a 12 or 13-year-old
I mean,
And I remember so much of that. And like, other than turning into a giant red panda, none of that happened to me.
No.
But like the doodling characters in a notebook and obsessing over a boy band and over anime and all that sort of thing, all of that was my experience that time of my life. And
Tell
so
me why.
why was my experience? Because I grew up as a geek and a girl at the same time.
No,
Robert got it. Robert got it.
Tell me
Oh.
why.
Ain't nothing but a Yankee. See, that wasn't my boy band of choice.
Making Backstreet Boy jokes.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm sorry, my boy band of choice was New Kids on the Block. Thank you very much. Slightly older.
Not very much though.
Not much, no. I would like to see Turning Red acknowledged. I think it's going to be Pinocchio.
Yeah.
So
Matt?
yeah. Mine is Pinocchio, and I believe it's gonna be Pinocchio. Like, I love anything Guillermo del Toro, and him doing stop motion. It's like, oh, so good.
Yeah.
And like he's already announced like he's doing another stop motion adaptation of a book. I forget what the book is called, but like I'm already excited for what he does with it. And just seeing like I love how far the stop motion stuff has come. And like I feel like it's finally getting its recognition it deserves. Because like both Pinocchio and Marcel the Shell, like those are stop motion.
Yep.
mhm.
And I think those are 1 and 2. I think Marcel is the second
Most
one.
likely.
It's yeah.
It could
What
be
about you,
it would be
Robert?
an upset, and your homegirl over here would be like, we'd have
Going
another
crazy.
party if Marcel won because
I mean, Pinocchio was my pick for sure. Again, Guillermo del Toro. I loved Pinocchio. The darker take on it. I don't think Marcel is the number 2. I hate to say it. I think that the one that's going to give Pinocchio the biggest run for its money will be Turning Red. And it's for all of the reasons that Jen pointed out, and it's the truth. I mean, it went into subject matters that have typically been shied away from because society was just too afraid to talk about it, and shouldn't be, because we talked about all the stuff on the opposite side all the time. So and it was a generally entertaining and fun film in general, even if you're not the target audience. So I think that's the one that's going to give Pinocchio competition.
One thing I want to mention here, I heard so many people talk about how incredible Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was.
Yeah.
I did not see it, but apparently it was like
It is really good.
mind-blowingly
It is surprisingly really good, given like how the franchise, like
The Shrek
the
universe.
Shrek franchise, and then spin off the first person Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots, yeah.
I don't even remember it.
Because The Last Wish, I think, is the third Puss in Boots, right? Because there were 2 before it.
Were there? I
thought
don't
there
even
was at least
remember.
one.
There was at least one.
Yeah. It's like I don't even remember. But
I
like
don't
the
remember if
third,
there were 2.
it's like there were 3 Shreks.
Yeah.
There was
But it's
4
like, yeah.
Shreks.
Was there 4?
Are there 4?
There's 4.
We're bad
We're
Disney
big
Pixar
Shrek
fans.
don't know.
here.
I don't know,
I'm
but
trying
yeah.
to figure out how many Land
But
Before Time movies there were.
there's
Too many.
probably like 12 or 15 or there's a ton.
Land Before Time, there were like
A lot of those.
15, 16, 20 something.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. There was
Not
only
even being
one.
hyperbolic. I think it's actually in the 20s.
There was only one, and it's when Littlefoot's mom dies.
So Puss in
Spoiler
Boots
alert.
actually did have three films.
Okay, now.
Yeah.
So
But
there
I
you
mean,
go.
yeah, The Last Wish is actually really, really good.
I need to see it just because so many people that I trust has said that. So I need to see it.
Yep.
I believe is it Paramount? I think it's on Paramount or Peacock. I can't remember.
It's Peacock.
It's Universal, so
Peacock?
it'll be Peacock, yeah.
Peacock. It's on there now. So if you have Peacock, you can stream it now.
I do.
There you go. All right. So we're going to
All
go
right,
to
Matt, last
our
category.
last category that we're going to talk about tonight is going to be the best documentary feature.
Or international.
Oh yeah, international, not documentary. We're going international. So we have All Quiet on the Western Front from Germany, Argentina, 1985 from Argentina, Close from Belgium, EO from Poland, and The Quiet Girl from Ireland. All right, Robert, what is your pick?
This is where I know I'm going to diverge from everybody else in the group.
I don't know.
And this is where I have two different picks between what I want to win and what I think is going to win.
I feel I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah, I do too.
The one I want to win is Close from Belgium. The one that I think is likely going to win is All Quiet on the Western Front from Germany. Close, it is a real story for anyone that's ever experienced bullying growing up in school, and just watching how the people around you deal with tragedy, both at a young age and even as adults. It's just a really intimate look at that. And they don't really pull any punches as far as displaying those emotions. So I felt like that's why the film stands out. All Quiet on the Western Front is getting a lot of buzz. And I think that one's ultimately going to pull ahead because of it. Period pieces like that tend to do really well at the awards. And although it is Netflix, which, again, is a bit of a challenge for Oscars to recognize, I think if they're going to be willing to do it, this is a category that they would probably feel comfortable doing it in versus Best Picture. So, Jen?
I'm going to have to give it to All Quiet on the Western Front. Just due to all the buzz. I thought EO was kind of cute. And not just because I loved Captain EO.
More dog piece.
Yeah, it's a donkey movie and it's adorable. I'm being told that has nothing to do with Captain EO. So, no Michael Jackson in the movie, whatever. But yeah, no, I'm gonna have to give it to All Quiet on the Western Front. There's been so much buzz and it's nominated. It's one of the Best Picture nominees, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nominated for Best Picture. It's the
yeah,
only foreign international language. For Best Picture, so it's like.
Has there been a picture that's been nominated for Best International and for Best Picture that has not won at least Best International?
I don't know.
It's like I think every time an international movie has been nominated for Best Picture and for Best International, it's at least taken home the international category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
That's fairly a fairly solid vote, I think, for All Quiet on the Western Front. Emma?
I would agree with that. I wouldn't give it Best Picture, but I think it could take Best Picture, but I definitely think it will take Best International Feature.
Yeah. Robert?
Matt? Well, you heard mine. It's Matt's.
Yeah, I heard it.
I agree. No, yeah. I'm the same. All Quiet on the Western Front was my top international, and I did, like Robert, I did love Close, and that would be my second pick. But I believe it's going to be All Quiet on the Western Front. Like, this is an easy category to decide, I feel.
Yeah.
Best supporting actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be losing a point in that category, unfortunately.
We will all see come Sunday.
Right?
In the Oscars live, and
we got our ballots filled out, and we're going to see wins.
There could be a bunch of upsets, maybe. Who knows? Who
knows
what's going to happen? Who knows how many people are going to get slapped or punched or kicked or anything?
The wild card categories.
Okay. What are our predictions on what's the over-under on how many times that incident's going to get mentioned?
I'm going to say
during the broadcast.
I'm going to say 3.
Oh, I'm going to say more than 3.
I'm going to give it 5.
Yeah, 5 or even 6.
Yeah,
for 6 since Jen said 5. I'm going to go for 6.
I'm going to go on the low side just to give us some range. I'm going to say 4. But I am going to say that it will be in the opening monologue for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely going to be in the opening monologue.
It's gonna be like, I feel like it's gonna be like 3 times in the open monologue.
We might just blow them out all there.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, moving along, one of our favorite shows came back on March 1st. So we're going to talk about it. The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. Jen, this is all you.
Yes, it is. Okay, so The Mandalorian is back, and Grogu.
I got my
And thankfully they did do a bit of a recap, both in the actual recap. Okay, I'm not going to run to my living room and get my Grogu.
Got multiple. I got one over there too.
But they did fortunately use Greef Karga as kind of an audience avatar to like. So if you didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, what's Grogu doing back? Oh God, he's so cute.
I have so many of them. Oh
I know, it just breaks my heart.
You're welcome.
But for those of you who did not watch Book of Boba Fett and I don't know, made popcorn or something during that scene, Luke Skywalker, he came and got Grogu last season. Grogu thought it was great, and then decided to bounce on the whole being a Jedi thing, and so now he is back with his Daddy Mando. Oh, Daddy Mando sounds wrong.
Daddy Mando, that's what it is.
Accurate, but wrong.
Daddy Mando.
The Dadalorian.
Daddy Pedro.
Also true. Anyway. No, so something that I wanted to mention coming out of the first episode, we're not going to talk about the second episode yet. It only dropped last night. Not everyone in this group has seen it.
We're not Nerdist.
Saying.
Mando and Grogu
We're not Nerdist.
It's the end of the series. They kill
However,
everybody off.
So in the first episode, we had one fantastic reference that I'm really, really in the depths of my soul hoping is not just an Easter egg and is actually some foreshadowing. And if you've been online at all reading up about The Mandalorian, you've heard of it. The appearance of the Purgles in hyperspace. So the Purgles are a reference to Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, and they were a huge thing, especially in the series finale of Rebels. I don't want to go too far into it because some people in this group have not watched Rebels yet. And
That's
they
literally
should.
everybody.
Yeah, it's literally everyone else in the group. It hurts.
I remember I saw the first couple episodes of like the first season when it first debuted. Because I got them for like review, I believe.
You people hurt me. You hurt me in my heart, because Rebels is one of my favorite Star Wars properties. It's just, it goes so deeply into the lore, and you feel so close to the core group by the end of the show, and to see where they go, where they end up, the references that are brought in from the extended universe. It's great for new fans. It's great for old fans. And clearly, with the references happening in The Mandalorian now, and with the Ahsoka show coming in later this year, Ahsoka looks like it's going to be the live-action continuation of Rebels. So if you haven't watched the show, please, for the love of God, it's on Disney Plus. It's like 4 seasons. Just do it. Just do it. It's great. It's wonderful.
Do not disappoint Jen.
Don't disappoint Jen.
Like we have.
Sabine Wren inspired my hair choices for the last 3 years. Get on it.
And I just thought they were cool space whales.
Yeah.
They are cool space whales. They are also the only species we know of that can travel in hyperspace and inspired hyperspace travel.
Hey.
By observing Purgles, humans and whoever else in the Star Wars universe discovered that hyperspace travel was a thing.
Somebody had to figure out a way to show how they invented it. So
right? And so
True.
that's one of the things we learned from Rebels. So, but they have a strong tie to both a hero and a major villain from Rebels. In fact, Thrawn was already referenced in The Mandalorian last season.
I was going to say Thrawn.
We know he's alive. We know Ahsoka's looking for him. And the last
They've
time
already
we saw
cast
him,
the kid.
yeah, they've already cast Ezra, haven't they? Have they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they have.
Yes, they have, haven't they? I know they've cast Sabine. I'm hoping personally, since they've shown the Pearl Girls, that we're going to be seeing him at some point here in The Mandalorian. As Pedro Pascal has said, there's a major reveal sometime this season. I'm hoping that's going to be it. So
Maybe.
and this is all I can talk about without going into the next episode that people have not watched.
Hey. We're being nice to our viewers tonight
Hey.
too and not spoiling. Trust me, they would have
Not just
spoiled
Robert.
it regardless of me if
Mhm.
they wanted to, but we know that it just came out last night, so we're not gonna hit everybody up with the major spoilers.
Technically, yesterday morning, you had
Fair.
just because sushi and Star Wars is my favorite kind of Wednesday. I understand it's not everyone's favorite kind of Wednesday.
Oh no, it is. It's just been a busy week.
It's been a week.
Exactly.
It has been a week.
We get a double dose of Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Yes, we
on
do.
a weekly basis now between
Yes, we
Star
do.
Wars,
Only
The
for
Mandalorian,
until
and
Sunday.
only for one. This is the last week, unfortunately,
Yeah.
the last week of The Last of Us.
But it's coming back. So
It's coming back for a second season.
It's coming back, and we'll talk about how that wraps up on our next episode, because that will be clear of spoiler territory at that point.
it will.
But yeah, let's jump into our next segment and talk about movie reviews. We have two films that we have seen in the last 2 weeks, and we're going to start out with Operation Fortune. Who wants to set that up?
I think Robert liked it more than I did.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I can set it up.
Yeah.
So Operation Fortune is another Guy Ritchie film. So elite spy Orson Fortune tracks down and stops the sale of a deadly new weapon technology wielded by billionaire arms broker Greg Simmons, which is played by why is his name escaping me? Hugh Grant. Yes,
Hugh Grant.
sorry. Reluctantly teamed up with some of the world's best operatives, Fortune and his crew recruit Hollywood's biggest movie star, Danny Francesco, to help him on their globe-trotting mission to save the world. So this isn't the first time Guy Ritchie has done this type of sort of spy film in recent years. But like many of his other movies, he brings a lot of the same cast members back with him in different roles in the film. So you got Jason Statham in the lead role in this one. You've got Hugh Grant, Aubrey Plaza, Josh Hartnett playing the movie star playing a movie star, and Carrie Elwes from the days of Robin Hood Men in Tights and other Princess Bride. Yep. Twister. Oh yeah, that's right. He was the dick in Twister.
Yeah, he was the bad guy.
Unrealized ideas. So I will say, I've liked not all of Guy Ritchie's films, but I liked the films that he did for the Sword in the Stone, the Arthur story that Guy Ritchie did. That was one of my favorites. Both of the Sherlocks that he did were great. In this film, there was a gag about, which Mike, that Mike, that, there was another team led up by a Mike. That's a gag that came out of the Arthur film that he did, if you hadn't watched it, where he's talking with the Blackleg sergeant, and he's like, which Mike? Kosher Mike? No, Mike. Fisherman Mike? The other Mike? No, my Mike. So it's a whole gag reel that he has going that was just a nice little touch. But I would say the part I enjoyed the most was Jason Statham's dry humor up against Aubrey Plaza. That was a really good pairing for those two characters. In the grand scheme of Spy, sort of middle of the road, doesn't stand out above all the other spy films of the genre. It's probably not the top 3 that Guy Ritchie has done, but it was fun. And I think there was a decent amount of humor in there that made us laugh and enjoy it. I do think Carrie Elwes was severely underutilized in the film. But his name is going to be a draw for people to go and see it. So Matt or Emma, what were your
Emma. Her name is
Emma?
Emma.
Yeah, that's the name.
You only see
Yes.
4 days a week, Robert.
Only 4
Right
days.
there.
I'm blaming it on the fact that I don't drink caffeine. Okay.
Sure. We'll say that's what it is.
Yeah.
No, I liked this movie. I think in terms of the grander scheme spy genre, it is really hard to stand out in this space. And I don't think this film stands out in the genre. What you see is pretty much what you get. It's one of the things that I said in my review is that I found like there was a complete lack of anxiety in this film because like I wasn't on the edge of my seat. Like everything that they did, they just effortlessly did, and it ended up okay. There was never moments where you're like, oh God, is something bad going to happen? They were fine the whole time. And I kind of liked that because there's enough anxiety in my life on a daily basis that it's nice to have that break with this type of film. But that's not what you're supposed to have in this type of film. But I think my favorite part of this movie was Aubrey Plaza's dry humor. And we're so used to her playing this really awkward kind of character who has this kind of longing stare into the camera, especially with what she did with Parks and Rec. And she plays awkward so well. But here she plays someone that is, super smart, sexy, cool, witty, and she's just got these amazing, one-liners that are just fantastic. So I would agree pretty much with what Robert said. It's a fun movie. It's nothing special, but it's fun. It's a fun watch. It's enjoyable, and yeah. Matt?
And Matt, you disagreed.
I mean, it was fine. Like I wasn't too impressed with it. It was meh. Yeah, it was very meh. It's for me, my favorite aspect of it was Josh Hartnett and his character.
He was great.
Who is this fish out of water actor who gets roped into, he's an actor who plays all these, he's an action hero, and he plays the spy and plays the badass in his films, but he gets roped into an actual spy scenario by these real agents, and he's like, I don't know what to do, and then he becomes fully invested in the role, and just his interactions and stuff I found to be hilarious. But other than that, and like, yeah, I'll agree that Aubrey Plaza was great and funny. But I want more from Guy Ritchie. And it's like, I absolutely love like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. Like those two are like the prime Guy Ritchie crime spy films.
They were so long ago, though.
They were so long ago, and it's like I still feel like he's gonna do another one of those. Like it's gonna like every time he because now he's really like pumping out like every other year he comes out with a new film.
Yeah, because The Gentleman was just like what, last year or the year before with Hugh Grant?
The Gentleman I think was, I want to say like 3 years ago.
2019, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last one was Wrath of Man.
Wrath of Man, that's right.
Jason Statham. And then before that, it was The Gentleman.
Yeah.
And so, and I like The Gentleman. Like, I feel like this is on the same level as The Gentleman. I did not like Wrath of Man. But yeah, it's like, I just want another one where it's on that same, there's a little bit of that wittiness that he has, like, that he had early on with Snatch and Lock, Stock. But like, it's missing that one element, that sharpness. And I don't know, it's like every time I hear Guy Ritchie, like that's where I go to. And it's like, okay, maybe this movie is going to be the next one of those.
Maybe.
And yeah, and it's so far I've been disappointed by that.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's still a little, little happiness. It's like he does a good job sometimes, but maybe my expectations are too high.
I think it's your expectations, because I went in with
Yeah.
no expectations, and you're going in expecting like the same greatness from 20 years ago. So it's a little.
I mean, I'm not expecting it because
Hoping.
for it.
I'm hoping for it. I
Yeah.
want it to be.
There was
I don't expect it to. So, yeah, for me, it wasn't. I did not have as much fun. It was okay. It was fine. It was meh. It was,
I
so,
On-
This
on
is
ju-
fine. This is fine.
this
Yeah,
is
it's all
fine,
fine.
Everything is fine as everything else is on fire around you.
I thought Josh's role of playing like the actor helping the spy sort of thing, coming so close to Nick Cage's film or The Unbearable Weight of Incredible Talent with Pedro Pascal doing that same, skit.
Yeah.
I feel like the Nick Cage movie pulled that off better than this did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that left me a little like, eh. I mean, I have not seen those two movies from Guy Ritchie that you mentioned, Snatch and Two Lock, Stock, and Barrels. I've not seen those, and I'm going to go check them out now that you've mentioned them. For me, the Guy Ritchie films that I first saw were both Sherlock Holmes and the Sword in the Stone movie. And the Sherlock ones are some of my favorites. So if you're saying those other ones are even better of his, then I need to go check those out.
Yeah. I mean, Sherlock Holmes has a lot of the same elements and stuff that he used from Snatch and just like in the Sherlock world fashion.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
All right. Well, let's move on to our second and final film review. Scream.
What are we allowed to say about this movie?
So let me kind of set the stage here. We can't talk about spoilers, so anything that specifically happens, we're going to talk about this at a high level because there is a global
very high level
spoiler embargo review that does not.
There will be no reveals of Ghostface, so we're gonna keep that.
No reveals of that. But let me set this up. So following
It was Grogu.
What?
It was Grogu.
Yeah.
Grogu's
I
ghost face.
loved that. It would have been
Be really easy to tell, though.
Would have been really easy to tell. The height
Oh my God.
dead
So, like,
giveaway in the ear.
I don't know if I could say this now or later, but I'll just go say this. I'll say this now. Like, I want a Scream where it's like super obvious, or like, remember Scary Movie? Like, where they make fun of it.
Yeah.
Where like they get, this probably will never happen, but like they get The Rock or someone like him to play Ghostface, and it's like just this massive dude as Ghostface, and then like when they're doing the whole where they're saying all the rules and stuff, and be like, oh, you could be Ghostface, or you could be like, this is why you're Ghostface and stuff, and then you have The Rock as part of the Friends group, where it's like, are we just ignoring this massive buff dude who looks just like
exact dimensions of Ghostface?
Right? And
Fair
just,
enough.
I feel like that would be hilarious.
That would be really funny.
But yeah.
Back
Back to you, Emma.
Thank you.
No, I
Wild
like that idea.
tangent.
I like that idea. So following the latest Ghostface killings, the 4 survivors leave Woodsboro and start a fresh new chapter of their lives. It's essentially the story here. We have 4 cast members that are joining us from the previous Scream from 2022's, and it's really all I can say without diving into spoiler territory. I'll say some high level notes here. One of the things that I really liked about this movie was that it was not afraid to make fun of itself and the genre as a whole. So I thought that was kind of a nice, refreshing thing about it. I do think there's a lot of moments that will make fans of the earlier films, happy. This isn't I'm not a slasher movie, horror slasher movie fan. When it comes to the horror genre, I prefer psychological thrillers or something paranormal. I don't like the, the knifey, stabby movies.
Stabby.
The
Nice.
stabby-
Got a technical term, the knifey stabby movies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think one thing that we can talk about that I think we all kind of agreed on, and my biggest gripe with the movie as a whole is, in fact, the stabbings. And it's not that there's a lot of them, because I expect there to be a lot of them, but it's how the characters respond to getting stabbed that really bothered me.
In that they don't die.
They don't die. They seem totally fine to like chill and have a conversation, or like
Yeah.
Or
you know,
run, or
Yeah,
Run
they're doubled over when we see him first, and then when they come back, they're running a marathon. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
and it's like your intestines are probably coming out of your body. Like, what are you doing?
To
Yeah.
be fair to Scream 6, that is pretty much a feature of Screams 1 through 5 as well.
It's
granted.
Yeah.
So
And
it's,
also a lot of slasher movies. I mean,
I mean,
you
to
never
sum
know
up,
who's actually dead.
to
it
sum
does
up
feel
my
more
review,
so than this.
to sum up my review, I just said it understood the assignment. Right?
It did.
I mean,
It very
yeah.
much did. I mean, that was a
it was a Scream movie. It knew what it had to do. It wasn't trying to go outside of that formula because it didn't have
Yeah.
to. It has the franchise has a huge following, and they wanted to continue it. The only other thing I would say beyond what Emma just mentioned is the threads that continue to connect everything back to the first film are getting mighty thin these days. I don't know how much further that taffy can be spread out before it snaps.
Yeah.
So
forever.
that's all I can say.
Yeah.
It can keep going. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it
I
really
mean, it's
was.
like if you
Go ahead,
like
Matt.
the Scream franchise, you're gonna like this movie. And
Yeah.
it's like I liked 5 more than I did 6, but it's way better than 4.
I mean, it really was kind of a quintessential Scream movie. I mean,
Yeah.
it had everything that you expect to see.
it has all those Scream elements. So
Yeah,
you know,
I
you know
I
what
had
you're getting.
fun.
it's fun.
Um,
It's
it-
a fun movie.
It's definitely a movie. To me, it's definitely a movie to be seen in a group, because if you're just watching it by yourself, I think you're going to be bored. I think the real fun of seeing a movie like this, especially one of the Scream franchise, is kind of like whispering to each other in the theater or in the living room, whatever you want to do. It's like, oh, it's them. It's them. That's the one. Yeah.
And we did that, by the way.
And we did. Fortunately, we
So-
were surrounded by just people we knew. So, and that's what you do during a Scream movie.
Yeah.
Frankly.
I do feel like this one felt more predictable than the others. I don't know. Or
I called
For
a lot
me-
of it. I'm
for
not,
me,
you know,
I did.
Yeah,
not gonna lie.
it
I-
felt more predictable, and I don't know if that's based on the storytelling. Maybe I'm just smarter, or what?
Well,
Right.
I
Like
I
that,
must
just,
be
you know.
I'm,
It's like,
I must be a little brain dead
Just
then,
that
because I didn't catch on to the majority of it like I kind of hoped I would. And
maybe
and
I'm ghost faced. I don't know.
I think it's also proximity to when you last watched the last couple of
That's
films,
true.
because like I don't think I've seen 5. I've seen the first 3,
Mhm.
Are
probably
we
4, but it's been a while.
5 as last year's movie? Is that
Yeah.
what we're okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Which
Yeah,
was
the-
just Scream.
Scream, yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
that
Okay.
was 5.
But like it wasn't completely unpredictable. There was maybe 1 or 2 things that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, there are still things to
But
yeah.
but
not
yeah.
expect. There's still surprises.
Yep.
There are still surprises.
Which it should be. So, and that was
Yeah.
great. I really enjoyed it. I am proud of how much I saw coming, honestly. But that's because
Yeah.
having watched other Scream movies, you learn, you know, you kind of know like what to look for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know their patterns.
Yeah, but I also appreciate that they, you maybe subverted some of those. So
Yeah.
can't say too much more because spoiler.
Spoilers.
What did we think about the fact that it took place in New York City now, so we had a little bit of a bigger arena for them to play in?
I mean, we didn't. It felt
Yeah,
like for all that it was in New York City, it still felt very like
Small.
very
Okay.
small, very tight.
Yeah.
You know.
it's like really and this is in the trailer, so I feel like we can talk about it, but like really the only part that felt New York to me was like the whole subway scene.
Subways, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you see that part of that in the trailers and stuff, and like that's really all that took advantage of it being in New York.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Well, on that note, since we can't really say anything more about it,
That's all you get.
Have a scream at Scream.
so that comes out tomorrow, March 10th. Of course, Operation Fortune is already out. That came out last Friday. And for our next show, we are going to be back on March 23rd. That will be our last show until April 21st. We're going on what I'm calling spring break.
Woo!
Mainly
Oh, different kind of. Yeah, let's be honest.
leaving and going on a trip. So we're going to reconvene after that. But for our March 23rd show, we will be reviewing Shazam, John Wick. We're going to a party for Air, which is the upcoming Ben Affleck, Matt Damon pick. And I don't know if we'll be able to talk about the movie itself as it doesn't come out until April 5th. But we'll see. We'll at least talk about the party. And
Yeah.
True.
and I'm sure we'll have some more news and stuff that comes up before then. But those will be some of our highlights from our
We'll talk about the end of The Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
More of The Mandalorian.
More of The Mandalorian.
I'll be caught up, I promise.
Better be.
Uh-oh.
So yeah, on that note, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Nerd Herd Live. I am Emma Loggins on all platforms except for TikTok. And Robert's laughing because I actually put in a copyright infringement or trademark infringement notice on the account that was using Fanbolt. So we'll see if I get it.
Oh, man.
But I am the founder and editor of fanbolt.com, and I'm posting pretty much every single day, multiple times a day. So please check it out if you have not already. Matt, to you.
I am on Twitter at I'm Matt Rodriguez and on Instagram at Matthew M. Rodriguez. And you can find us at shakefire.net and Shakefire on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Robert?
You can find us at 3fbyspace.net or on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and now TikTok at 3fbyspace. You can also find me personally at Robert W. Prentice on Twitter and Instagram for some more personal stuff on what I'm doing with screenings and geek stuff. Jen?
And you can find me personally at Renlark, RENNLARK, on Twitter and Instagram. I'll be honest, it's mostly Disney content, so live with it.
Bad thing. I think
That's not a
I
bad
like it.
thing.
Like, deal with it. It's
Well, thank you guys again.
Kylo Renlark.
Oh, yes.
I like
Well,
it.
thank you guys again for joining us, and we will see you on March 23rd. Until then,
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
bye, guys.
Bye-bye.